And it's loading. Beautiful. Thank you. So we're going to move on to input. This is the steps that I'm going to show you on how to solve the problem. We're solving two-step linear equations. So please write this down. When isolating the variable, so that means getting the variable by itself, the order of operations is reversed. What does that mean? That means that if you have an addition or subtraction problem attached to multiplication or division, you don't do multiplication and division first, you do the opposite. You do the addition and subtraction first and end with your multiplication and division. So it's reversed. Remember the order of operations, PEMDAS tells us parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Scratch that, it's reversed. Addition, subtraction, then multiplication or division, okay? So you have two steps. Step one, you're gonna first add or subtract. You're gonna first add or subtract. And then after you add or subtract, then you multiply or divide. So it's reversed when you do a two-step equation. Okay, we're going to go on and move to modeling. Who's going to be our model today? Who's feeling feisty? You guys look so alive right now. Number one. Come on down. Everyone give her the model clap. Yes, yes, yes. Here you go, beautiful model. And on the count of three, we're all going to yell at the top of our lungs, modeling. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Modeling. Everyone give her the class. Oh, she looks beautiful. Strike a pose. Great pose. All right. Great job. Thank you, my model. So that means I'm going to show you, just like a model shows clothes down the runway, I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. Okay? So your directions will say, find the solution of each equation. Your directions will say, find the solution of each equation. Okay? Number 1. 5a plus 2 equals 7. 5a plus 2 equals 7. Now I'm going to think to myself, the order of operations is reversed. So instead of doing the multiplication and division, I'm going to do the adding and subtracting first. So to isolate the variable, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm going to subtract 2 from this side and subtract 2 from that side. And I'm going to draw my line underneath. My 2's cancel out on this side. I'm left with 5a equals 7 minus 2 is 5. So I just accomplished my step 1. I added or subtracted first. I just accomplished my step 1. I added or subtracted first. So now I'm left with 5a equals 5. So now I can do my step 2, multiply or divide. Well, the 5 and the a are touching, that means multiplication. So I must do the opposite, which is division. So I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. My 5's cancel out on the left, and I am left with a. And I have 5 divided by 5, which is 1. Problem solved. So my step 2 was that I multiplied or divided. Easy enough. Number 2. 9 equals 5 plus 4t. 9 equals 5 plus 4t. And again, in my head, I think, all right, I need to get the t by itself. I need to isolate the variable. So I'm going to add or subtract first from both sides. So I'm going to subtract my 5 from both sides and draw my line underneath. My 5's cancel out, and I am left with 4t on one side of the equal sign. And on the other side of the equal sign, I am left with 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. Now t is still not isolated, so I must do the opposite to get t by itself. So I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides. So I am left with t equaling 1. Or if you'd like to write it this way, it's fine. T equals 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. I know, so easy this term. Yes, as long as you follow the rules, you will be successful. Now, I love this. I love algebra. Do you want to know why I love algebra? Because you can always plug the number in to see if you get the right answer. If I got 2 and I plugged that back in and I said, 9 equals 5 plus 4 times 2. 5 plus 8 is 9. That doesn't make sense. So you have to go back. Algebra is so easy. Why? Because you can plug that number back in and see if you have the right answer. You have no excuse to get the wrong answer. It is awesome. Number 3, negative t plus 2 equals 12. Negative t plus 2 equals 12. So to get t by itself, I have to add or subtract first. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides and draw my line under. My 2's cancel out. I'm left with negative t equals 12 minus 2 is 10. Now this is where we got confused on our pretest. You guys didn't know what to do with the negative t. A variable is not isolated because that's invisible 1, that invisible friend 1 is still in front of t. So what you have to do is divide by negative 1 on both sides to get rid of the negative 1 next to the t. That invisible friend 1 is in front of it. So now my negatives cancel. I am left with t equals 10 divided by negative 1 is negative 10. Negative 10. So you have to remember, you can't leave it a negative variable. You have to divide by negative 1 to get rid of that negative sign. Because our friend Mr. 1 likes to play invisible. Okay? Number 4. I'm going to give you plenty of examples so that you have no questions. 3x minus 7 equals 35. Again, think to yourself, the order of operations is reversed. So I must do the adding and subtracting first. So I'm going to add 7 on both sides. And draw my line under. My 7's cancel out. And I have 3x equals 35 plus 7 is 42. So now I have to get x by itself. So I have to do the opposite. I have to divide by 3 on both sides. 3's cancel. X equals 42 divided by 3, 14. I'm going to give you 2 more easy examples, then I'm going to give you 1 with a decimal and 1 as a word problem. So here we go, number 5. M over 9, so m divided by 9 plus 7 equals 3. I'm going to give you one of every type of problem you're going to see. So again, I have to add or subtract first before I multiply or divide. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides and draw my line. My 7's cancel. So I am left with m divided by 9 equals 3 minus 7 is negative 4. Ms. Graham, what do I do now? Well, it's division, so I have to do the opposite to get m by itself. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 9. Because multiplication is the opposite of the division. So that my 9 over 9 cancels out, and I'm left with m. And then I have negative 4 times 9. A negative times a positive is going to be a negative. 9 times 4 is 36. Number 6. Negative 9 equals negative h over 12 plus 5. So now we have a negative fraction. Add or subtract first, so I'm going to do the opposite, subtract 5 from both sides on my line. My 5's cancel. Negative 9 minus 5, same signs add and keep, so it's going to be negative, add them, 14, equals negative h over 12. Negative 14 equals negative h over 12. So now to get h by itself, I have to multiply by 12 on both sides. And the opposite. My 12's cancel. I have negative h on one side of the equal sign. On the other side, I have 12 times negative 14, which is a negative 168. Now again, I did the math ahead of time, but you'll probably have to work it out on the side of your paper. Okay? I can't be left with a negative variable. Remember, that's our friend negative 1 who's invisible. So I have to divide by negative 1 on both sides. So now I'm left with h, because my negatives cancel, and I have a positive 168. Negative divided by negative is positive. So do you want to flip it and write it this way? That is absolutely fine. So h equals 168. All right, moving into the two last problems that are a little more difficult because we're dealing with decimals and we're dealing with word problems. You will see word problems on your homework, okay? Put your hands on your head if you're done with number 6. Okay. Done with number 6, almost. Okay, looks like all of us are ready now. All right, number 7. This one has to do with decimals. So you have 5.8 plus, n, plus 3.7 equals 29.8. So you have 5.8n plus 3.7 equals 29.8. I know, decimals, don't be scared of them. They're nice. You just have to remember how to solve them. So again, looking at these two, I need to add or subtract first. So I'm going to subtract 3.7 from both sides. And draw my line. So my 3.7's cancel. So on the left side of the equal sign, I am left with 5.8n And on the right side of my equal sign, I just simply subtract 29.8 minus 3.7. The decimals are lined up. I can easily subtract and get 26.1. So if you want me to show my work, I will show you right here that I did 29.8 minus 3.7. 8 minus 7 is 1. The decimal follows me down. 9 minus 3 is 6. 2 minus 0 is 2. Right? So then lastly, divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5.8. Divide by 5.8. My 5.8s cancel. I'm left with n on the left-hand side. Then I have to do 26.1 divided by 5.8. So I'm going to show you my work over here. So I have 26.1 divided by 5.8. When you have a decimal sign there, you want to move it over to the right one, but what you do to the outside number, you have to do to the inside. So that now becomes 58 divided by 261. 58 goes into 261 about 4 times. 58 times 4 is actually 252. When I subtract, I get 29. So then I need to add a decimal with a 0. It's annexed and bring it down. So 58 goes into 290 actually evenly, 5 times evenly. So then I get 290. So I showed my work. So now I know that n equals 4.5. So again, make sure you know how to do the division of decimals. You don't want that to stop you. And our last problem is going to be a word problem. Yay! Number 8 is going to be a word problem. It says, you walk, write it all down, at a rate of 210 feet per minute. That's the first sentence. You walk at a rate of 210 feet per minute. That's the first sentence in the word problem. You need to walk 10,000 feet. That's the second sentence. You need to walk 10,000 feet. How many more minutes will it take you to finish if you have already walked 550 feet? So you walk at a rate of 210 feet per minute. You need to walk 10,000 feet. So how many minutes is it going to take you if you've already walked 550 feet? That is the word problem that you might get. Now the one thing about word problems that tend to freak students out is setting up the equation. Once you get to the equation, it's easy peasy. But looking at it and figuring out how to set it up to write the problem scares people. Don't let it scare you. There's an easy way to figure it out. Okay, the first thing you want to figure out is your outcome, right? Your outcome. So what's the thing that you're eventually going to get to, right? So if you look in this, you can see that what do we need to walk by the end of all of this? 10,000 feet. okay? Can't really see that, so I'm gonna use a highlighter. My outcome, what I need to get to, is 10,000 feet. Alex. Thank you. So 10,000 feet is my outcome. That's going to go on the right side of mine. Just shake it. Thank you. So 10,000 feet is over here in my equation. Now what do I already know? I already know that I walked 550 feet. So something plus that 550 feet is going to get me to 10,000 feet. Okay? So in my equation, this 550 feet is what I have already done. Okay? So what I've already done, that 550, is going to go here. Now I need to figure out what is going to be my variable. What do I need to find out? Well, I walked 210 feet per minute, right? That per means that it's going to be your variable per minute. So it's going to be 210 feet per minute. So right here is what I've already done. Ooh, that's dark. Okay. And then I have my 210, which is how many I'm going to do in a minute. All right. So you set up the equation. Now we can solve. So I walked 210 feet per minute, and I've already walked 550 feet. So how many minutes is that x is going to take me to walk that 10,000 feet? Okay? So now it's simple. I'm going to add or subtract from both sides first. So I'm going to subtract the opposite of addition. Subtract 550 from both sides. And draw my line. My 550s cancel. I am left with 210 feet per minute. I'm going to subtract that 550 because I've already gone on 550 feet. So 10,000 minus 550 is 9,450. Remember, always show your work. Okay, so now I've done that. I look and I need to still isolate the variable, so I'm going to divide by 210 on both sides. My 210s are going to cancel out, but now I need to divide 9,450 by 210. So just to show you my work over here, I have 210. I have 9,450. 210 goes to 945 about 4 times. So then I get 840. I subtract that and I get 105. I bring down my 0. 210 goes into 1,050 5 times evenly. So I'm left with 45. Now 45 what? What am I trying to find out? Minutes. Very good. So it's going to take me 45 minutes to walk 10,000 feet after I have already walked 550 feet. So the word problems are just what you need to concentrate on. What's the outcome? What have I already done or didn't do? Your add or subtract. And then what's the variable along with what you need to know? Okay? So I need to look at your notes really quick. And I want you to tell the person next to you what the first step is when you solve a 2-step equation. Just go tell the person next to you. Now tell the person behind you